Buongiorno. Let's talk about the top three things that you should know when eating in Italy. The first thing are the meal times. You should know that restaurants close between lunch and dinner and are not open all day long. But starting with breakfast, we have colazione. Typically happens between 7 in the morning and 9 in the morning, although at a bar, by bar I mean coffee bar or a cafe, you can get breakfast really anytime. Italians typically have coffee and have a pastry or a croissant for breakfast. Then we have pranzo. Pranzo is lunch. Lunch doesn't usually start until 1:30 in the afternoon and it goes until 3:30 in the afternoon. These are approximate times, but that's generally true. If a restaurant is open earlier than that for lunch, 11 a.m. or 12 p.m., it probably caters to tourists and it might be a place that you want to avoid. Dinner happens between 8 and 10 p.m. Now, dinner may go a bit longer on weekends or during holidays and things, but that's essentially your meal times. Next, we have the courses. During Italian lunches, which are the biggest meals, and sometimes during Italian dinner, if it's a large dinner or a celebration, there are courses. But regardless of whether or not all the courses are used, things come in this order. So the first thing we would have would be an antipasto, which would be your appetizers, sliced meat, maybe toast, cheeses, pâtés. And then we would have a primo. A primo is a pasta dish or a rice dish like risotto, maybe polenta or maybe a soup, but it comes all by itself and the portion is probably smaller than what you might expect rather for your primo. After your primo will come your secundo. The secundo is some meat or it's the fish dish and it's served with a contorno. A contorno is a side dish, usually vegetables, and oftentimes it's potatoes. Whether or not potatoes are a vegetable, I don't know, but this tends to come with the secundo. After that will come the insalata, known as the salad. The salad is basic. It's usually just some lettuce, maybe some carrots, but it's not going to have croutons and cheese and nuts and all kinds of things in it like you might see in some other countries. And it's served with olive oil and vinegar, which you put on yourself. Maybe you do some olive oil and lemon or a little salt, but that is it. Now, after that course, you have the formaggio and the frutta, the cheese and the fruit. Uh, that could be your dessert. It might not be your dessert. If it isn't, then you have a dolce, which is your sweet, which will come after the formaggio and the frutta. And the very last thing you get, not with your dessert, but after your dessert, would be your cafe, your coffee. After the dessert is complete, and the coffee is an espresso, which is about an ounce of coffee or 30 milliliters you would get in a very small ceramic cup. Next, we have where to eat. Well, where do Italians eat? Where can you eat while you're in Italy? The number one is casa, home. Most Italians eat at home. They might go out while they're during working hours. They might go out to try different foods or to celebrate. But most Italians don't tend to get takeout and bring it back home. They tend to eat at the house and cook things themselves. Then we have the bar. By bar, I mean coffee bar. Coffee bar is a great place to grab a sandwich. They might have some limited entrees and pastas and things. But a bod is nice because you can eat there outside of the typical Italian timetable. Oftentimes, you can get a sandwich 11 or 12 o'clock, and there's nothing wrong with that. Gelateria. Gelateria is where, of course, you find gelato, and it can be eaten as a snack. This is perfectly acceptable in Italy. The aperitivo. Aperitivo is sort of an all you can eat hors d'oeuvres hour. This happens before the Italian dinner hour. And at many bars and many restaurants, if you purchase a drink, an alcoholic drink or non alcoholic drink for 10 or 15 euro, or maybe a little more, you can have all you can eat hors d'oeuvres. And they really vary. So some might be pretty basic with some little pizzas or something, and others may have a variety of different foods and rice dishes and pastas and meats and all kinds of things. Then we have the paninoteca, which is a sandwich shop. We have the tavola calda or rosticceria. Tavola calda or rosticceria is probably two of my favorite ways to eat in Italy. It's a counter service or self-service where you go in, you see a hot bar with all kinds of different things you can pick from. There's no wait staff there. They weigh it out and you sit down, you eat it, and after you're done, you can leave. So it's great for folks trying to learn some Italian because you can point at things and you know what they are rather than kind of guessing at the menu. And then we have the pizzeria. another sit-down restaurant where you get a pizza pretty quick. And Italians will eat a pizza on its own as a meal, but you might find some salads and other things there also. Trattoria or osteria. Trattoria typically has food from the region that's local to the area, and it's usually a simpler place to eat that's a bit less expensive than a ristorante. Osteria typically were establishments where you get some wine and you might get some snacks, but now they kind of, the line is blurred between what a trattoria is and an osteria. Some osteria might be quite fancy and chic and expensive, but it's hard to know for sure unless you check out the menu. Ristorante certainly are the most expensive options. In at a ristorante, you might find food from the region, you might find food from another region, or you might find a ristorante that specializes in ethnic food or fish. And when you sit down at a restaurant, at a trattoria, or at a pizzeria, those last three, the wait staff would take their time with you. Meals can be quite long, and you may have to ask for the check. And one last thing is you will say "buon appetito" as soon as your food comes, and food will not come all together. They will bring, as soon as one dish is ready, they will bring it to you. And so it's typical for the individual at your table to say "buon appetito," dig in, enjoy your meal, and you can start eating, because when the food is hot and fresh, that's a time to enjoy it. So you don't have to wait for others to begin eating. Okay, well, that's it as far as tips on eating essentials in Italy. If you're looking for more, you can check out the book, A Guide to Italy. Ci vediamo and buona giornata.